Did you say you're in the batter's box, or? Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay. I used to play softball. I know that well. And so I'd sent him some kind of funny, meme back or something about sliding into home or whatever. And so today he sent me one, and it said, "Get in the batter's box," and it shows a little kid being pushed into the batter's box, and I was like, and so I was thinking to myself all day, it's like, and I even wrote this because I was trying to work today, and my mind was just like two squirrels, duking it out over a Scrabble game. And the thing I wrote at the top of this page was, you got to step into the batter's box and you got to follow through. And I'm like, that could mean a lot of things. In softball, I didn't have fear. I mean, I had fear of getting hit in the face, stuff like that. But other than that, I didn't have any fear. I played the game. I swung hard. I swung for the fences, and I was good at it. But the one thing I've definitely learned is, let me see if I put it down on here. I have a lot of notes. It doesn't mean I'm going to read them all. But it says, I'm tired of muscling things with my own human strength. Because, we all have a limit capacity. I've always been very strong. I'm thankful that I'm strong. But right now I'm also thankful that I'm at a point to where I'm realizing that I can't keep muscling it. And I know you guys have heard me say that before. And it takes a lot for me to learn. It takes a lot for me to step back and just lay it at the cross, or die to myself every day, because it seems like I have to do that every day, especially lately. But, my strength has limits. My body's going to fail. But my strength through God is from a divine source, and it comes with an ability to persevere and overcome. And sometimes I feel like that has no limits. I put the limits on it. I walk away, I step away, I slack, with my daily walk with God, and just kind of put him aside. He's there. He's always there. He's always been there since I was 10 years old, and accepted him into my life. But I'm a goal-oriented person, and I always like to set goals and try to achieve goals, and that's great. But what I'm realizing is God has a purpose, and there's a difference in those two things. I'm not on this earth. He didn't put me on this earth for a gold star, for accolades, for a title, for, I don't feel like I've ever been the kind of person that's been like, oh, look at me. I like to be behind the scenes. I like to be the workhorse. But, sometimes I like to have a pat on the back or get noticed. But, that's not what I'm here for. I'm going to be a half a century in December. And I plan on celebrating even before my birthday through January. Anyway, but I'm just realizing that, I have to step out of myself. And I have to physically give it to God. Like, literally, I'll look in the mirror and go, I took it back. Here, you can have it back. And, I don't think of myself as 50. I know I probably don't act 50. Except when I get up off the couch, I look like I'm about 80. But it's the whole thing of, yes, I'm almost 50. What have I accomplished? And for me, it always comes down to what people have expected of me. I love music. I have been given talent with music, and I know that. I'm not trying to be conceited. You guys know me well enough. But what is my purpose? What is my purpose to still do something musically? I mean, I'm here in church. Even though I've missed the last 2 Sundays. But when I'm here, I already signed my visitor's card and is up front. Okay. So, but anyway, you guys know the story of, how I used to fear and cry in my 20s, sometimes in my 30s before I'd get up there. Still on Sunday mornings, I still go through the fear. I still go through this process. But on the flip side of that, I'm excited. I'm excited to get up there. I have wrong notes. I sing wrong. That we've been doing for a long time. So what? My heart's in the right place. And how much I fail, I keep picking myself up. And no matter how much I feel like I'm backslidden or I've failed the day before, I know where to go. And it's not looking at myself. It's not finding the power within myself. It's finding the power within God. I can't do this on my own. I can't do anything that I've been through or anything that's about to come on my own. And I find that when people ask me, people that have kind of known my journey of the last probably, I would say, probably since I lost mom, and then the years to come and everything that came with that, and the challenges within my marriage that, I have a man that I love so much, and he loves me, and we are persevering, but it's not on our own. And we're realizing that. But I'm just sitting there, and I guess I'm just realizing the strength and the accomplishments. I am still here. I want to be a vessel for God. But the one thing that I fail at almost every day is forgiving myself. And really, it wasn't until my 40s, and really until I lost my parents, because they were such amazing people. I was never angry at God when I lost them, because I knew where they are. I know where they are. And it was their time. But the stuff that I went through after I lost them is, I sit back and I go, okay, I've got hurts, I've hurt people, and I find it easier to forgive somebody. And then I'll never forget when I was sitting with Ken and Connie the one day, and he made the list, and my list really wasn't very long, and I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful for that. But they said, you forgot somebody. I was like, I can't think of somebody. And they said, you. And that's always stuck with me. And it's stuck with me in a good way, because I'm realizing to this day how much I struggle with that. And that it is a disservice to God. He died for our sins. And I know that forgiving somebody, you release them and you let God deal with them. And I think of some of the people that it's been hard. I didn't think I was going to be this emotional. And I really don't have too much planned, but I think of some of the people that I have chosen to forgive. And I have a relationship with them. A good relationship with them. And that is truly what the goal of forgiveness is. And I'm not saying everybody you forgive that you're going to be able to have a good relationship with that person. I understand that. I do. But I'm just saying there's been some amazing things just in the last 9-10 years of my life that I've gone, wow, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of bad water under that bridge, but it's gone. Those waters are calm. There's peace. There's a healthy relationship. That's what forgiveness is. It's like wildflowers growing out of the desert. This beauty that just erupts because of something that you chose to do, because it is a choice to do it. But on the flip side, I keep choosing to drag myself through that same desert without those flowers, which causes shame, which causes me to overachieve, which causes me to overcompensate, causes me to deal with guilt that is not deserved. And I like to swim, but that's not the kind of water I don't want to swim through that anymore. And so, almost on a daily basis, I have to choose to forgive myself. We've all done things in our life. We have all done things in our life that we just sit there and go, how can that be forgiven? You got to ask for it. You got to let yourself go. You got to let yourself feel the grace, or feel things that you feel you don't deserve. And, I keep putting myself in that prison. And I feel it almost on a daily basis, because it feels like the more I get worn down, what I was wanting to say was, people ask me how I am, and I say I just have no more emotional reserve. Which means to me is I can't rely on myself, my body. anymore. I don't have that reserve. I don't have that muscle anymore, because I'm at a point now where I know that I can just reach for God. And that's what I'm supposed to do. You know, like Connie tells the story of like the peeling of the onion, and I always think about that when I'm chopping the onion. You know, it's like most of the time I leave it in my fridge a little too long, so you have to peel back a lot more layers than what you thought. So it looks like a little shallot. I'm like, I paid for the whole thing. But that's okay. You get through those peelings. Don't get the juice in your eye because it will make you cry, but you get through those peelings and it's beautiful. Well, I'm still going through the peeling stage because I want to be the shallot. I mean, shallots, they're great. And, you know, and what's the point of imprisoning yourself in your past? It's like having a wound that you just keep picking at. And it keeps getting infected, and it keeps just festering, and it's like you want it to heal, but it's kind of up to you to be part of that process. You know, and not to mention that, you know, like Chris had said a couple weeks ago, you know, this guy erupted with him, and in him that he thought was gone, he was like, whoa, where did this guy come from? I'm dealing with that same thing. You know, I'm going through the process. I'm going, you know, trying to get rid of the yucky stuff and trying to myself, and then something will pop up and it'll bring that roaring whatever it is out of me, and I'm like, oh, there's still something in there to deal with. You know, but I mean, compared to say 10 years ago, now I go, oh, there's something in there. That's not your fault that whatever just came out, but it's for something for me to deal with. You didn't make me do it. You didn't make me say those words. You didn't make me raise my voice, but something caused something bad to bubble up in me. And now it's my choice to deal with it or not. So, you know, and not to mention, you know, forgiveness, it gives Satan a foothold. It just gives him a pretty welcome mat. It says, welcome, come on into my home. And it festers. It just, you know, and that's when you got to get out I ran out of olive oil, so I use like avocado oil, and that's when you go around and, you know, before I didn't think I had the power, which I have the power through God, to bless my home, to protect my home. And so I went through to every door, every post. My house is not big, but there's plenty of things that something could creep in. And I'm like, I'm not letting that creep in again. I don't want that anymore. You know? And, you know, I don't want that bitterness. I don't want that unforgiving spirit. I don't want that hard Jesse back. I don't want that survival mode back. I'm not talking about surviving like if you're getting attacked by a bear in the water. Well, you know what I'm talking about. That, oh, I am fine. Everything's fine. I am confident. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. No, you're not fine. You're putting on the face. You're putting on the mask. And who hasn't done that? And so, you know, when I talk about being at the point where I don't have any emotional reserve, it's okay. Because like Chet and Ken have said, oh, what do you say? You know, I'm at rock bottom, or I'm just, I can't do it anymore. Well, you're at a good place. Really? Really? Because you know that's going to come out of their mouth now. I mean, it's like, yeah. Right, it's just zip it. Just, you know. And not to mention, you know, I mean, my family, you know, I can walk in and they're like, yeah, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. Because there's a lot that you can see in people's eyes. There's a lot I can see in my eyes over the last probably few years. I could literally look in the mirror and tell when that zeal for God was out. And I was on my own. Oh, he's still here. On my own. Because total different look. No sparkle. Even the blue fades. I need that. I need to see that. I need to see if that happens. I don't want it to happen anymore. That's my goal, not to have it happen anymore. But that's when I started physically seeing it within myself. You know, almost like a manifestation of something is in me that is not right, or I'm empty. So, with the unforgiveness, I found that it causes speed bumps and obstacles with my relationship with God and with my relationship with the people I love. And I don't want that anymore. I feel like I've always been Jessie. I've always been, the project of my parents. But I feel like this time in my life, even though I was talking to Vince today, and actually I can share this with you guys. Yeah. He's not here tonight because he's doing some homework. But he actually, we got, so of all days, when God, you're ready to give a message, or you're excited, you think, okay, I'm going to speak on this, and then the devil comes in there and goes, here. So, my husband called me today from work, which he doesn't normally call, but there was a situation that he was faced with, and before I would have found out probably about it, after the fact, and hopefully everything would have been okay. But huge step for him was he called me and talked to me about it. And a year ago, I would have just flipped out of fear, flipped out of just worry and all that. And that didn't happen on either side. We talked about it. We talked about how we're both in a different place. We talked about how our hearts have changed, and we talked about, how we're giving each other grace. We know what's happened. We know what heartaches we've served up to each other, and we're very well aware of it. But the communication and just the love and the grace that were shown from both of us today, that little foothold that Satan tried just gave me more material for tonight. So he lost. So it's little things like that. And even simple things like, you talk about having I'm goal-oriented, but God has a purpose. I know we've talked about here before, what is our purpose? I think mine is music-related. I don't know. I think I'm where I need to be, where I'm supposed to be, as far as, being with my church family. I get to play here with you guys. I get, but it's weird. I was talking to Connie about, I think God gives us some aha moments, or hey, wake up moments. And, I had one the other night, and my husband and I are discovering we have a fondness for trees, and it's in a very weird way. But they're both Jeep related, and we both survived them. But anyway, I was driving home 2 Monday nights ago. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a freak storm that popped up about 9 o'clock. It was on a Monday night, like two weeks ago. I was driving home from Hendersonville, and I was in the Jeep, it was open, and I get a text from Vinny, and he said, hey, we just got a huge gust of wind. I think you're driving into a storm. Oh, okay. I could use a second shower. It's hot. So I'm going up Tyree, and of course the wind starts. I'm like, oh. And then I turn on 31, and the rain starts to the point of it looked like a blizzard. And I'm like, well, I'm already wet. There's no sense in pulling over. We're just going to tough it out, get home. Well, it looked like a blizzard. I mean, I was going maybe 30, and, it was like, wow. And here's a funny fact. I had Dad's old conga in the front seat strapped in like a little chubby kid hanging on to it so it wouldn't blow out, someone that used to sit here at church for a long time. Anyway, that's a visual. So I'm going down the road, and so, when you're going up towards 52, you eventually come to the crossing where you go down and cross over Red River. So I'm driving along, and I'm like, this is entertaining. And I see this big white whoosh. I was like, ooh, that was a big gust of wind. It wasn't wind, it was a tree. And I'm not kidding. I come up, and there's tree. There's tree. And there's tree branches. And I'm like, oh. And so I jumped it. I couldn't do anything, didn't have time to react. I'm thankful there was no traffic. Nobody was behind me, no one was in front of me, and I jumped it. So I get to the stoplight at 52 and 31, and everything is calm. I'm not, but everything is calm. And there's a text that comes by, are you okay? From minutes. I was like, just ran over a tree, be home in a minute. Not much rattles me when stuff happens on the road. It just is what it is, Survived. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I get into the garage, and I'm just like, and I got tears in my eyes. I'm like, he's like, what happened? And I was like, I ran over a tree. Of course, he's probably, figured he was thinking, like, a fisherman says, I caught a fish this big. And it was like this. So he goes, I want to go back and look at it. I was like, oh, okay. So we jumped in his Jeep, and he had the spotlight. And so we go out. And remember, it's nice and calm now. Someone had to remove the tree, which I'm very thankful for. And we drive up to it, shine the spotlight, and he's like, honey. I was like, yeah. And if only they could see the visuals. And so, it didn't do anything damage except it did give me some, nice cosmetic things on the bumper. But I was so thankful. If I was in the Honda, may or may not be here. But my whole thinking was, it wasn't, okay, thank God the Jeep landed on all fours, but it was, God's not ready to take me out. I mean, that was pretty much what it was. I was like, guess I'm still supposed to be here. Because if I had time, if I swerved, I probably would have maybe not been here. I don't know. But for me, it was like what am I supposed to get out of this? I mean, something as funny, not funny as that. But it's like, wake up, okay, what's my purpose? And that's exactly what went through my head when I calmed down. Something like that. Or something like today that came up, and I'm like, okay, devil, you're just trying to test us. And we are learning. We have just showed you how we learned, and I'm going to take it to church tonight. You lose. So, stuff like that, And then Vincent texted me on the home today, because he always lets me know when he's on the way home, and he's like, how you doing? I was like, still Scrabble in my brain. Got all these notes, not sure how they're going to go together, but there's a song, and there's unforgiveness. And I said, I feel like an onion. Of course, he's probably like, he's like, don't worry, God's got this. It's like, okay. And I put everything down and went back to work after that. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Where's my trust? You're right. I mean, I might be like nailing Jello to a wall right now, but, God's got this, Trying to think of what else. But, the important thing is forgiveness. I mean, I know that we teach about it a lot in this church, and it, like I said, it took me to realize in my 40s, so I went, oh, that's how it works. But when you don't forgive yourself, you're doing God a disservice. And I have a note in here. I said, when you choose a deal of forgiveness and letting others go so God can deal with them, do not leave yourself off that list. Ken said. And I've got other ones. A few other things I want to share first. Like a Mark 11:25, where it says, Jesus said that if you forgive men when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. There's two parts to that. I always seem to forget about the second part. And who's not ready for, who else struggles with forgiving themselves? And who's tired of living with dragging yourself through the desert? I was talking about how I feel like I keep putting myself into a prison by not giving myself grace. I can give other people grace, but I just keep locking myself up. And why would I want to sentence myself? Why would I want to sentence myself to not being right with God, which pretty much is what it is. And that's a hard one to realize, but it's a good one to realize at the same time. There's no gold star for my stubbornness or my unwillingness to let myself go. Let it, I know I've done things, and I know I've asked for forgiveness, and I need to accept the grace, and I need to stop, I make myself pay for it. And I think that comes out as, I wonder what other people think of me. Or, like I said, I stretch myself thin by trying to, I like to do for others. I love to do for others. But there comes a point where you are stretching yourself so thin. And you can't give the quality self to people. You're just giving them an empty shell. That's not quality. That's just checking off a box. And I don't want to do that anymore. I can't create 28 hours in a day. But I can make the most of when I'm awake. I can make the most of when I wake up in the morning, decide how I'm going to start my day. I think I've talked about before there's a program that I went through where you had to do like a trauma egg. And so and then there's messages at the top of that egg which are not true. And my two messages were, I have to be perfect, and that doesn't mean physical, but I have to be perfect and I'm not enough. And those are lies. I mean, the devil is such a liar, and he still uses those messages. I mean, they're brought to my attention, a year and a half ago, as far as that is very, very true. I struggle with both those things. And I have. And it's nothing that my parents did. My parents were amazing. I never went through my parents are stupid stage. My parents were always cool. They always thought I was weird because I wanted to hang out with them when I was a teenager. But they were cool. And but those two messages are lies, and they're lies I still struggle with. And I truly believe it's because I don't forgive myself. And I hold myself in that bondage. And I'm worth more than that. So, there is a friend of mine, a kayaking friend of mine. She is a great lady. She's recovering from some things, and she's just an amazing hearted lady, and she's been through it. She's been through a lot. We've known each other since like 2010, and she posted something today, and it's the AA thought for the day. And it said, when many hundreds of people are able to say that the consciousness of the presence of God is today the most important fact of their lives, they present a powerful reason why one should have faith. When we see others solve their problems by simple reliance upon the spirit of the universe, we have to stop doubting the power of God. Our ideas did not work, but the God idea does. Deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. Faith in a power greater than ourselves. And miraculous demonstrations of that power in our lives are facts as old as the human race. Am I willing to rely on the spirit of the universe? And that says you should not dwell too much on the mistakes, faults, and failures of the past. Be done with shame and remorse and contempt for yourself. With God's help, develop a new self-respect. Unless you respect yourself, others will not respect you. You ran a race, you stumbled and fell, you have risen again, and now you press on toward the goal of a better life. Do not stay to examine the spot where you fell. Only feel sorry for the delay, the short-sightedness that prevented you from seeing the real goal sooner. And the prayer for the day was, I pray that I may not look back. I pray that I may keep picking myself up and making a fresh start each day. And that is true. And this is where Ashley and I were talking about earlier, the difference between grace and mercy. Grace is getting what you don't deserve. Correct me if I'm wrong. And mercy is not getting what you deserve. And like I said, I can serve that to somebody else, but I'm not serving that up to myself like I should. The grace part. I know that, my sins were already paid for. So why do I keep dragging myself through it? I'm thankful for God kind of wearing me down, because I believe that he brings things to bring you to your knees sometimes to get your attention, whether it's a tree or whether it's just stuff you're going through that is wearing you down, so that all you can do is reach for him. I guess that's where it starts, But I'm very thankful for our church family. I'm thankful for the honesty of everybody. I'm thankful for straightforwardness. I'm thankful for sometimes the tough words of love that have to be delivered. I'm thankful for being here tonight, even though part of me was excited and part of me wanted to crawl out of my skin. But there's growth. We're growing, and just need to love ourselves. And I struggle in that category. I can put on a really good front. I think I get that from my dad. People used to always say how confident he was, and we were a lot alike. We can show some really good confidence, but we're just a pile of goo. Tender-hearted goo. So, but there is a song I wanted to play for you guys, and I actually did. I printed out the lyrics because I wanted you to read them, because sometimes my brain doesn't compute, but this is a song that you want. Yeah, please. A song that it's been on my playlist for years and years, and I've been wanting to sing it in church, but I can't get through it. Because it's true. And Dade asked me if I had visuals today. And I do. So this is a jar full of broken seashells. And I've been asked before, why do I keep the broken ones? And I've probably said this in church before. Just because they're broken doesn't mean they're not beautiful. And think of how many beautiful things have been made out of broken seashells and broken things. And, your past is not your MO, but your past is something to share with people who wonder how you got through it. I mean, I know how much I've survived, with God kind of over here, even though he had his arms around me, I was still I can do this, I'm surviving business mode, I'm fine, I'll deal with it later. Boy, howdy. To the point now where it's like, real quick, it's like, oh, I need him. Oh, I need my strength. It's not from me or a box of Wheaties. So, anyway, before I pray us out, I wanted to play this because it's, to me, it's pretty powerful. I figured bring my little speaker. See if I can do this. I had to silence the minions laughing. Okay, we ready?
I see a shatter, you see whole. I see a broken, but you see beautiful. And you're helping me to believe. You're restoring me piece by piece. There's nothing too dirty that you can't make worthy. You wash me in mercy. I am clean. There's nothing too dirty too dirty that you can't make worthy. You wash me in mercy. I am clean, oh yeah. There's nothing too dirty that you can't make worthy. You wash me in mercy. I am clean. Washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flowed red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I am clean. Washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flowed red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I'm clean, I'm clean. I'm washed in the blood of your sacrifice. Your blood flowed red and made me white. My dirty rags are purified. I'm clean. I am clean. I'm clean. Oh, you make, you wash me clean. Oh, you made me clean.
All right. Lord, I thank you for tonight. And I thank you for the stretching and the growth in all of us, Lord. And Lord, I just pray that the words that you gave me, Lord, are pleasing to you. And Lord, I thank you for your strength, Lord. And I just thank you for everything you do for us. And Lord, I pray as we go out, I pray that you'll put a protective hedge around everybody in here and their families. And Lord, I just thank you. I just can't thank you enough for what we feel like we don't deserve. And Lord, I just I thank you for everyone here in this church. And amen.